Hi guys, I'm Natalie Chambers Snapp, and I'm the author of Heart Sisters, Being the Friend You Want to Have, that will be released on Tuesday, April 21st by Abingdon Press. And I've been asked to just release a couple of short little videos to talk to you about my own experience in publishing this book and writing. And so today we're going to just start with why did I even write Heart Sisters to begin with? Why did I feel led to this? And what were the events that kind of made me start really seriously thinking about writing Heart Sisters? So I can start with a couple of years ago, I was the leader of a women's ministry, and at the time, it was a MOPS group, and at the time, it was about 75 women. It was very large, and I had a leadership team that we called a steering team of about 14 women. And I really wanted to find a book that would allow us to study together on how to walk through conflict in a way that honored God, what to do if somebody had offended us. What does the Bible tell us we need to do when we are tempted to talk about other women? What are we supposed to do for other women? How do we forgive after someone has hurt us? These were common questions that were coming up, and I didn't become a believer until I was 27 years old. So I have friends who are believers and friends who are not believers. And shockingly enough, I found that my friends who were not necessarily believers were handling conflict and relationships between each other better than my Christian friends. And so this really got me thinking, what is it that we're missing in the Christian world? Because I love Jesus and I follow God, and I try to live as biblically as I possibly can, knowing I'm disabled by the flesh. So why is it that Christian women were struggling with this so much? And so anyway, I looked for a book on this and I just simply couldn't find one. And so I was having a conversation with a friend of mine one day, and she said, "Well, Natalie, aren't you a writer?" And yes, of course, I am a writer. So that's sort of how the seed was planted. And then I had the idea to go to She Speaks, which is a conference that's put on by Proverbs 31, a wonderful writing and speaking conference I can't recommend enough. And when I looked at what was offered, you're making quite an investment to go, which is worth every penny, but they also offer publisher meetings in which you can sit down with representatives from different publishing houses and pitch your book. So I wrote a book proposal, and I took that with me. And I thought, if anything, they can just say no, and I'll have experience meeting with publishers, and I'll kind of know what that's all about. But God blessed me with a meeting with Pamela Clements, who I just absolutely adore. At the time, she was with Abingdon Press. She's no longer there. But she was excited about Heart Sisters, and she really caught the vision and understood the message. And so here we are. And honestly, I've had people ask me, well, what was your plan? What did you do? I just did the next thing that came up in my path. I was very diligent in always going back to God in this, because I never want it to be about me. I always want it to be about God's message and what He wants His women to hear. And I think it's no accident that there are several books being released right now on the topic of friendship. Melanie Dale just wrote a book about friendship for moms, new moms, called Women Are Scary. And there's another book that's just being released, and I'm not remembering the title of it right now, but it's a memoir about friendship. And Encourage for Women is doing a series on friendship. So I think that when God puts these messages in our path, it's never an accident. And so I really feel like He's wanting His women, to His daughters, to really examine how they relate to one another. So that's how Heart Sisters came to be, and I'm so excited to get it into the hands of women so that we can start our Heart Sisters revolution. We can start encouraging and loving each other rather than being competitive or envious or tearing each other down. We don't have time for that. We don't need that, and we're called to better than that, girls. So I'm so excited to meet you, and thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.